everyone. Welcome to, oh my gosh, I haven't done this in like so many weeks of needing to go back and like figure out what episode we're on. Damn it, I haven't done that in so long. I was doing so well. Welcome to episode 13 of the Name One Player podcast. 13 is actually my least favorite number. I actually got suspended from middle school on Friday the 13th. We're not going to get into what I did. I'm not proud of it, okay? We'll just say that. I'll leave you all guessing. You're all going to be thinking, what did Nicole do at the age of 13? Real ones know. Anyways, welcome to episode 13. You know what? 13, I'm thinking this is going to be a really great episode because I won't lie. Actually, I did kind of think previously, like, oh God, what's my 13th episode going to be? Like, is it going to suck? Because typically anything revolving 13 for me is just not good. It's not even getting suspended. There's been multiple things that have happened to me on the 13th of the month that just aren't good. It's just not a good number for me. But I think this is the time that we turn it around. I think from now on, 13, I'm not going to say it's my favorite number. 11 is my favorite number. And real ones know that too. But anyways, okay, we're rambling. We're getting sidetracked. It is the 13th episode of the Name One Player podcast, and we are doing an absolute first today. We're talking about the MLB and we're talking about the NBA today because we have Jeri on today. And I have actually not met Jeri. We haven't even spoken before. And we chatted a little bit on Twitter because I hope everybody had a chance to listen to last episode with the lovely Cora. We chatted all about the Minnesota Vikings. I had an absolute blast, obviously. But Cora touched on a little bit that she's actually also a Yankees fan. And she connected me with a bunch of wonderful women on Yankees Twitter. And Jeri reached out and was like, hey girl, I would love to be on your podcast. And I'm like, hey girl, that sounds so much freaking fun. Let's do it. So we have Jeri on today and we're going to chat all about the Yankees. I won't lie, I had to do a little bit of research on the Yankees. I did actually used to own not one but two Yankees ball caps, and I actually loved both of them, but not enough. When I had moved to London, I was really particular about the things that I kept and the things that I sold or donated, and unfortunately the Yankees caps did not stay in the keep pile, mainly just because I'm not a huge hat girl, to be honest with you. Anyways, I own these two Yankees hats. One of them was pink and white and it was absolutely adorable, and I actually really miss it, and I do think about it a lot. Like, that's kind of a bit of a regret for me, getting rid of that hat. Anyways, so yeah, not really a huge Yankees fan, don't really follow along too much, but what I did do, I did look into how the Yankees season ended, and we're going to get all into that with Jeri, but spoiler alert, it was a tough ending. If you're a Yankees fan, ouch. My heart goes out to you. Yeah, so we're going to get into that, and Jeri is also a big fan of the New York Knicks. So we will chat a little bit about basketball too. I'm really looking forward to that because of all of the sports, that are a little bit bigger in North America, baseball and basketball are the ones that I'm less familiar with. I love them. I have absolutely nothing against them. But I think the fact that Vancouver doesn't have an MLB or an NBA team. That is funny though. I do have a NBA hoodie that an ex-boyfriend actually gave to me, and I wore that to work today because it's really a fantastic hoodie. So my ex-boyfriend, if you're listening to this, thank you for the hoodie. I do still wear it, and it's one of my favorites. It's great. I need pockets at work, so it has some nice pockets. I get a lot of compliments on it too, actually, because anyways, the whole point of that is Vancouver does not have an NBA team. They used to have an NBA team years ago. The Vancouver Grizzlies moved to Memphis, and Memphis, I do know when they have their throwback jersey days, they are wearing their Vancouver Grizzlies jerseys. And even just walking around Vancouver, you'll see Grizzlies merchandise all over the place. We miss it. We're hurting for an NBA team. Maybe one day one will come back. Yeah, so really exciting episode with Jeri today. I can't wait to get her on and chat all about those teams. It's going to be a blast. She's ready to go, and we're going to chat about the Yankees and the Knicks, and it's just going to be a great time. So without further ado, please welcome Jeri. All right, everyone. So we have Jeri here with us. For everybody listening, we have not met at all. This is the first time that we've spoken really at all. Just touch base, and I already love you already. I think you're absolutely hilarious. So I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to have you on today. I think it's going to be an absolutely amazing episode.
Yeah, thank you. Also, this is my first podcast ever.
Oh, well, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
I can already tell that you're going to do a great job, so it's gonna be good.
Well, thanks. I love to talk. So
Me too. That's why I'm like, why didn't I think about a podcast before? It's the best.
yeah, I know. I want to have one as well, but I would just be yapping and it would just be 3 hours. So I don't know if anyone wants that anyway. So I don't know.
Some of the episodes I have to cut down so much because I'm like, nobody's gonna listen to me talking for this long, but
Yeah.
I do it, so it's okay.
Well, listen, it's your gig, girl. Do whatever you gotta do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am a born and bred New Yorker. Born in Staten Island, everyone's least favorite borough. I know. I'll get hate for it, but it's fine. But I lived there for 20 years. My dad's from New York City. My mom is from North Carolina, but my mom's basically a New Yorker at this point. But yeah, so born and bred New Yorker. I love New York sports, mainly baseball and basketball. But, I travel for a living, so I'm all over the place. But, I still try to keep up with my teams because honestly, watching sports and playing sports are my two favorite hobbies.
Yeah, I love that. Something actually about the Yankees and New York, a bit of a funny story, and part of why I am such a sports lover is because of the Yankees. So I went to New York, years ago now, when I was a freshman in college. I went for a psychology conference. And everybody tells you that New York is just like incredible, amazing, magical. And I went in May. So
Okay.
It wasn't like super hot. I thought it was a great time to go. Temperature was good. It was busy but not too busy, not like super peak tourist season or anything like that. But I went and I was just like, I'm not seeing the hype. I'm not really getting what everybody's saying. I did all the touristy things, which maybe looking back, probably not the good thing to do.
It's okay.
But
yeah, everyone does it. It's fine.
it wasn't until I went to a Yankees game that I was like, this is the most magical city in the whole entire world. Like, the
Yep.
atmosphere, just like the stadium, and walking in, and it wasn't like I really cared about the history of the Yankees or anything like that, but it's like, it was just so incredible. And again, the fans, we weren't sitting super close or anything like that, so sometimes I find with games that's almost better to kind of be a little bit further away because you're getting with the actual real deal fans who actually want to be there. The best experience ever. I remember leaving that game and getting on the subway and being like, wow, New York, this place is amazing, I absolutely love it. And then we ended up going to, I don't know if it was Top of the Rock or Empire State Building or something like that, one of those kind of things after the game, and I was just like, this is the greatest city ever, I love it here.
That's awesome.
That's my story with the Yankees.
That's really cool. Honestly, so before my husband and I got engaged, it was his first time in New York, and I was like, listen, I don't know what you're going to think about this. You're from a farm in Florida. No shade to him, but he's from a farm in Florida, never been to New York before.
Okay.
We had just gone on tour together, so, it was after the tour. Or not, it was actually before our first tour together.
Okay.
And I was like, we just got to go to a Yankee game. And this was in 2022, so Aaron Judge, he was chasing the home run record, the American League home run record.
Okay.
And they were like okay, but they made the playoffs but barely and then choked. That's a whole other story, but it was nothing. We were sitting in the bleachers, and the bleacher creatures, if you ever go to a game again, that's the section to sit in.
Okay.
But they were more of a show than the game. It was the bottom of the ninth inning, and we were not bored because we were having a great time, but they were playing the Royals, and then Aaron Judge comes up and he hits a walk-off home run. And that was literally one of my favorite baseball games I've ever been to.
Yeah.
One of my favorite experiences, like a core memory of mine, and that was his first ever time in New York, first Yankee game. And then I literally dragged him out of the stadium as everyone's singing New York, and all that. So yeah, it's another one of those kind of stories, but it was amazing. Like that
Wow.
atmosphere was insane. I had never been at a Yankee game that was that crazy.
Oh, well, unfortunately, the one that I went to, the Yankees did lose.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
even with that, like the atmosphere was so incredible. So I can't even imagine a moment like that. But I remember thinking, growing up in Vancouver, Canucks fan, it's just kind of shoved down your throat. You don't really have a choice. They're not the best team to follow because they've just really never been that great. But it's not like I dislike sports or anything. But it was that Yankees game and sitting with the crowd that I realized just like how incredible sports really are and just how it can bring people together, and it's just magic. And they lost. So
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how amazing the games are when they win, or spectacular moments like that. It's just, I loved it. Fell in love.
Yeah, it truly is special. It's one of my favorite things. Even getting together with my friends here in town, like we basically bribed a bar in Nashville to play the Knicks games during the postseason. To like we literally just bribed them. We're like, hey, we work at this bagel store. We'll give you bagels. Can you just like put the Knicks game on?
That's
And it was just to be in a
hilarious.
bar with a bunch of people that would, that were watching the game. Even that is great. So I
Yeah.
just love sports for that reason, honestly.
So you live in Nashville now then? You don't live in New York anymore?
No, yeah, I moved to Nashville 10 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And are you
So,
missing the sports aspect of things living in Nashville?
yeah, for sure. Like I want to get into hockey. I feel like it would be so fun to go to a game. And the Nashville Preds games are really fun. So I'd be interested in going, but we only have a hockey team and a football team.
Yeah.
So we don't have a basketball team. The closest one is Memphis, which is fine. I was debating on driving there for a Knicks game. But then the closest baseball team is the Braves in
Okay.
Atlanta. So, I'm just missing that because there's just something different, I think, about basketball and baseball, especially in the Northeast.
Yeah.
There's such a community. I mean, really anywhere, but in the Northeast, even the rivalries in New York and Boston, even now New York and Philly, it's just such a thing. So I really miss, I mean, just the atmosphere of the city that you got to see.
Yeah.
And then just the whole atmosphere of just like, I don't know, everyone's really diehard about their sports up
Yeah.
there, as you probably know. So I miss that all the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting because I guess when I think of Nashville, I mean, I think of country music, obviously, but I
Yeah.
don't think of it being a not great city for sports. I get maybe great's not the best word, but I don't think of it being or I didn't realize that it's not really a sports centered city, but I guess it really isn't. And it's the same as Vancouver too. We have the Canucks, and that's that's really it. In Toronto, which is on the
Across
other
the
side
country.
of
Yeah.
the country, which
Yeah.
so many people don't really realize how far Toronto is from
It's basically
Vancouver.
Buffalo to LA,
Yeah.
almost. Or Buffalo to Seattle, almost.
Yeah, actually, exactly. Like the
Crazy.
borders are right there pretty
Yeah.
well. So I personally don't really follow along with the Toronto teams. And actually, it's funny. One of my best friends, Taylor, she is a big Blue Jays fan. And at that Yankees game that I had gone to, I had bought a Yankees hat because I'm going to show up wearing a Yankees.
Naturally.
Like, I'm not just going to show up wearing nothing. So I come home and I'm wearing this hat, and she's like, "What the hell are you wearing? Like, what is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm a Yankees fan now. Like, why not?" So I texted her and I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry to tell you, I'm actually the first." Oh, this is another thing. This is your first podcast, but this is my first MLB episode ever.
Oh, amazing.
So,
I
yeah,
love that.
so I'm like, "I'm sorry to tell you, but the Yankees beat out the Blue Jays on the Name One Player podcast. We're talking about them first." And she's like, "Okay, whatever, it's fine. But can you just say that the Yankees suck?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to say it, but I'll point that out. We'll just get that out in the air."
Listen, the standings say differently, babe, so it's fine. Listen, whatever. Maybe Vlad will resign. That's great for them.
Oh,
But,
that's hilarious.
yeah,
But
they
yeah,
love they love to catch that smoke. They try and try every year to just make a rivalry, and yet it fails. But
that is so funny.
yeah,
But it really is, I guess, too. You got to think about it. It's like I don't live in Toronto, and actually for years I really hated on Toronto, but now I'm kind of thinking the sports atmosphere that you have there, like I had somebody else on here, we were actually talking about the Olympics, but she grew up in Toronto, and you have baseball, hockey, basketball, and soccer just all
Oh,
in
cool.
walking distance with each other, and it's just that just sounds like the absolute best.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of Canadian sports teams. Well, there isn't any for the NBA except for Toronto or the
Right.
MLB. So we gotta force rivalries to make it fun.
Listen, that's fine. And I've been to the Blue Jays Stadium. I
Yeah.
didn't go for a game, but I went for a show on one of my
Okay.
tours. And it's a really cool stadium. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the way that they renovated it, it made it really easy for like concerts to go in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if she was a Houston fan or a Red Sox fan, that would be very different. I'm not going to hate on her too much. It's fine. I've
Okay.
never met her. It's okay. No bad blood between her and I. It's all good.
That's good. That's very nice of you.
Yeah,
That's very
of
nice of
course.
you.
Of course. And I did forget that Nashville also does have a soccer team, and I
Mm-hmm.
forgot, and I live directly across from it, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
Vancouver, we also have a soccer team, and I mean that's a whole different discussion. It might be a whole like North America versus Europe. And Jeri and I, we actually talked before hitting record that I lived in London, so really huge football atmosphere there.
Well, do you support a London team?
Not really, to be honest. I never really got into it. Some people that I talk to, I would probably say that I'm a Manchester United fan if I had to pick one, but that's about it.
Yeah, see, my whole touring party would be screaming at you right now. Because a lot of them are Arsenal fans.
Okay.
I started really getting into that when I was on tour
Mhm.
in Europe and the UK because they would watch it every single weekend. It would
Mhm.
just be like football day in
Yeah.
the green rooms.
Yeah.
And it was actually really fun. And when they were in the Euros,
Yes.
we had a rehearsal one day in Philadelphia. We had them literally bring down a projector screen
Mhm.
and we watched the entire match
Yeah.
at the rehearsal. It was actually really fun, especially to watch it, like I said before, to watch it with people that know what's going on
Mhm.
and like
Mhm.
didn't think I was annoying. I was like, well, what
Yeah.
is that rule? What's that rule?
Yeah.
And it was really fun to watch. So it's something that I'd be interested in watching again, but
Yeah.
not being over there again. The time zones are weird. So
Well, yeah, it is
yeah.
tough. And actually, for the Euros, I was living in London at the time, so it was just
Oh
so
my God.
cool.
Yeah.
And we mentioned I worked at the O2 Arena, and the Killers had a residency there for, gosh, I think maybe 6 nights
Yeah.
at the O2. And one of the nights, England was in the semifinals. And I used to also work in the customer service email department. So we got
Yeah.
so many emails that day being like, hey, are you going to push the Killers? Like, are you going to play the game? And we're like, no, the Killers are going on at their scheduled time. Doesn't matter that the game's on. Come if you want. Don't, like, you pick, but the game will not be on. But they had actually planned to, if England was up, and thankfully they were, to
Yeah.
stop the show, play the last minute, 30 seconds, kind of a bit of a countdown showing that England was up. And then as the clock hit 0, fireworks went
That's
off
amazing. I think
into
I saw
Mr.
that.
Brightside,
Yeah.
and I have goosebumps thinking about it. It's
I
like
have
to
goosebumps.
this
I
day
didn't even
one of
know.
the coolest moments I've ever seen. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that I was getting paid to witness that moment. Like, it was just incredible.
That's funny because that I remember seeing that online, and
Yeah.
that's the game where we watched it at our rehearsal.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and then a week later, or a week or maybe 10 days later,
Hmm.
we were at the same venue for the final,
Yeah.
and that didn't end as well as the semifinal.
Unfortunately not, no.
But still, that's funny that we were both watching the same game.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, no, it was. I gotta give him credit over there. Didn't really see much of the football culture throughout the rest of Europe, but in England, they are ride or dies for that
Yeah.
sport, and you gotta respect it.
I really do. I mean, even the rivalries, we had like a little rivalry in our touring party, and it was fun to watch from an outsider. I was like, I don't care what they'll do, but I'm just watching that. It's like a little reality show. It was really funny.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So, your main teams that you support, you'd say, are the Yankees and the Knicks?
Yes,
Nice.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So, what I was saying too before we recorded, I don't really follow too much of the MLB or the NBA. And actually, it's funny. I was wearing my Vancouver Grizzlies hoodie today at work. I think they left Vancouver when I was 5, maybe 6 years old. I do remember going to Grizzlies games though. They were very fun.
That's cool.
And we had every maybe every year, maybe it's not every year, but teams will come and they'll have like a little NBA showcase
Oh, cool.
in Vancouver, and it was really cool because just everybody was just decked out in Vancouver Grizzlies gear. It was I really can't remember the two teams that played, but it was a really great atmosphere, and Vancouver is dying to get an NBA team to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't really follow along with it too much, which is too bad, but maybe I'll have to see what the Knicks are up to.
Listen, they're doing well. We traded away two of our, I mean, I loved one of the players that we traded away. I love both of them, but I had a special place for Dante.
Okay.
We traded them away to get a center because we actually lost our center during the off season. So, but they're starting to find their rhythm.
Don't really follow the MLB too much. I, if anything, because I am a Vikings fan, I'll see a lot of Twins tweets come up. So I did a little bit of research into the Yankees season, and I was absolutely dying laughing because I just Googled how did the Yankees season end, and
Oh,
the quote that came up from ESPN says, and I quote, "A total defensive meltdown in the fifth inning, one that will be remembered as one of the worst in postseason history, cost the Yankees their season in a 7-6 loss to the Dodgers."
yeah.
And that, I was insulted reading that. Like, that hurt me. Like, gosh, ESPN. Like, these are some harsh words to say.
I
But
mean,
it sounds like it was true.
it's very
No
right.
lies.
It's very right. Like I told you before we started recording, I was on tour in the UK during the entire Yankees playoff run.
Yeah.
It's except for the last two games of the World Series. I was staying up late. I was watching them. You know, obviously we did well in the postseason before the World Series. I mean, the first game of the World Series, we were down to our last out, walk-off grand slam. It was 5 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be insufferable tomorrow. I'm just
Yeah.
not gonna talk. The worst part about it is that our opening act were half from Germany, they're from Germany, but they live in LA.
Okay.
They came to the gig the next day, Dodgers hat, Dodgers,
Oh,
Dodgers
no.
shirt, and they were like, "Oh, what's up, Jerry? What's up?" And I'm like,
Oh, that's gotta
don't
hurt.
talk to me." I was like, "If you come into my production office trying to throw that in my face, goodbye." I almost did. I actually was doing like a name 5 players for him. Like, tell me their roster, and then you could come for me. Like, don't be a fair weather fan. So I had come home the day of game 4 of the
Okay.
World Series, and I was like, they're gonna lose. It's fine. They're gonna lose. Whatever. I'll watch the last game with my family because my parents live here. So I was like, whatever. I'll watch the last games with them. They ended up winning, and then game 5 happened, and I was watching it with them again. And my mom and my dad are very invested. That's how I became a fan.
Okay.
That's a whole other story. I don't want to like get on a tangent, but my mom is, and she'll probably watch this and she'll be shaking her head and be like, yeah. She was walking back and forth. Oh my God, Jerry, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And my dad's sitting there like just like rocking back and forth. The dog is like nervous because we're like yelling.
Yeah.
But they go up in that game and we're like, oh my God, like, are they going to do it? Fifth inning comes around. And meanwhile, I keep my bar very low.
Okay.
If they win, awesome. If they lose, it meets the bar that I have. That's how I was watching the World Series, and really just my general aspect or how I look at life kind
Yeah.
of sometimes. Working with the general public, you have to do that, as you do.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
So I was just like, whatever. Like, I'm just chill. My husband's sitting there, and he's just like, yeah, okay. Because I got him into baseball. He doesn't really watch it when I'm not home. And then that just disaster happened. I was like, Tyler, get in the car. We're leaving. We're leaving. I'm going home. Like, at that point, I think it was 3 days before our wedding, because I got married very quickly after I came home.
Okay.
And we had a backup plan to have a projector at the wedding to watch game 7, because game 7 would have been on the day of our wedding. So I was like, I got it locked. And then that happened. I said, if they win, I'll miss it. If they lose, I'll miss it. We're going home.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I literally left my parents' house. I was like, I can't watch this.
Oh no.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it. I was like, I'm not going to look at my phone because I get the MLB updates. I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to look at my phone. I watch a podcast, or they do live streams. They're called Talking Yanks.
Okay.
And I was watching that while we were watching the game. I was like, or no, they were actually at the game.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So
Well. Hmm.
yeah, well, they had like their videos. Like I'm very active on Yankees Twitter, so like
Yeah.
I wasn't even looking at Twitter. I was like, I'm throwing my phone in the back of the car, and I'm not going to watch. So ESPN was correct. That was a very long explanation. That ESPN was correct.
Oh no.
It was
Okay.
awful. Yeah, it was bad.
Well, how long ago was that? October?
Yeah, the end of October.
Okay, so you've had a few months then to kind of digest it.
Yeah, but honestly, like I saw how they were playing that whole
Mm.
series, and I was like,
Mhm.
if we win, it was a gift.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
didn't like the honestly, people can hate on me. The Dodgers did not win the World Series. The Yankees lost the World Series.
Fair enough. I think that's. I mean, I didn't watch it, but sounds completely fair.
Yeah, between the decisions of our manager and a lot of, I mean, game one was thrown away by him.
Hmm.
Like point blank, I'll say that. Tell that to his face. I don't care. But like the decisions that he was making and the decisions that we were making,
Hmm.
we gave them the World Series in a wrapped box. And the
Yeah.
fact that they're now like talking shit. Well, I'm sorry, I can't curse, but then
You
now
can
they're like,
curse. All
okay,
good.
great. They're talking shit all over the internet at their parade, saying all this like garbage. No,
Yeah.
no, we'll see them next year, maybe.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I after this episode, I'm certainly going to be following along
Yeah.
with the MLB, but just in particular the Yankees
Well, thank you.
season. You know what? We'll have to have you on closer, either like once the season is in full swing or a
Sure.
little bit closer to when it starts, because yeah, I was looking into a little bit of the postseason, and maybe because it's really hasn't even been 2 months. Um, didn't really see like a lot going on. I know, like, at least following the Vikings
Yeah.
postseason, there it really isn't a lot of downtime. I feel like in the postseason, you got the draft, then you got the trade deadline. Like, there's a lot going on to be focusing on, but I didn't really see too much with the Yankees. So, how do you feel with this postseason right now?
Well, I mean, there's not really much going on because we're actively trying to sign Juan Soto, and
Mm-hmm.
he's the, I mean, the best baseball player that's playing right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially offensively. He is I mean, he's the best. He gives the best at bats I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of baseball from when I was coherent to now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched every Yankee game for the past, I think, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's like he gives the best at bats ever, but we're waiting for him to resign. So we haven't really. I mean, they don't really do major signings until the end of December, January, February, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Once it
fair.
gets to once it gets to February, it's like everyone's basically off the market, except for last season or last in between season, but that's a whole different story. But so we're waiting on Juan Soto. I mean, I was looking today on Twitter, and there's a lot of news coming out where it's like, oh well, Plan B if we don't get Juan is this, and I'm trying not to get upset about it
Yeah.
because we shouldn't have a plan B. We should just get him.
Yeah.
Like that's all we need. But I listen to Talkin' Yanks all the time, and they have really good episodes of like what our plan or what their plan Bs will be and all
Yeah.
that. So to be fair, there really hasn't been anything. Like we've signed some extensions for people that we've had already,
Mm-hmm.
but that happened very quickly after the World Series.
Okay.
So they have winter meetings. I think they're in the next few weeks where all of the GMs and managers will go and meet with agents to try to get deals done. So a lot of things happen either at winter meetings or around winter
Okay.
meetings. And that's, I think, I could be completely wrong, but I think Aaron Judge was signed around December time. I think
Okay.
maybe after, I mean, even after Christmas. I think it was actually in January. So that's when people are kind of thinking that Juan Soto's going to sign.
Okay.
But that's the big, like, he's the biggest free agent on the
Hmm.
market. But everyone's like, well, he could sign tomorrow or he can sign in January. Like, no one really
Okay.
knows.
I mean, sounds kind of stressful for you, but it sounds
Oh, yeah.
exciting for an outsider to be following along with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm refreshing Twitter all the time. I'm in a couple of Yankees communities on there, so I'm just like, what are their takes? And I just
Yeah.
kind of like lurk. I don't really talk to anyone, but
Yeah.
um yeah, it's fun to watch, especially when there's like a big signing that we can be involved in. It's fun, and I just like I look at every single MLB update I get or ESPN update. I'm just like, ooh, is it now? And it's not now. So we'll see.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
well, speaking about timelines then, it might be too soon, but how are you feeling going into next season?
I mean, it really all depends on if we get Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Like if we don't get him, they're gonna have to do a lot of work to rebuild our team. I mean, we're getting rid of our most likely our second baseman, our first baseman. We need like Aaron Judge should not be playing center field. Hot take.
Hmm.
He should,
Okay.
yeah. So there's like a lot. There's a lot of moving parts that really depend on Juan Soto. Like he
Yeah,
could
yeah.
sign,
Sounds like it.
yeah, he could sign and then continue to play right field, or they can move him to left field, or he could even play first base maybe. If we get him, awesome. I am really confident. Like we didn't even make the postseason without him
Mm,
in 2023.
okay.
We made it to the World Series with one season with him.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that he's like our savior, but in a way, I
But
mean, but I mean, he's Dominican. There's a lot of Dominicans in New York. I can tell that he was at home there. The crowd supported him. The energy of the team was amazing. I mean, I would almost placed a bet. They all played ping pong during spring training. There were like
okay.
videos of like this ping pong tournament they have. I was this close to placing a bet that they were going to go to the World Series after I just saw that because I was
Just the
like, that,
chemistry and everything there. Wow.
yeah. But I didn't, which I should have, but I didn't. But anyway, so it's like it all just hinges on the trades that we make because we like a lot of our players are older.
Yeah.
So I can't really be like I'm stoked for it until I know what the team's going to look like.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
totally fair, but again, sounds exciting. Also, it really does sound nerve wracking
It is. It
to
is.
try. I guess it really is just a waiting game, but I will.
Yeah.
Now I'm waiting because now I'm curious what's
Yeah.
going to happen here. That sounds super interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so next little thing. So anybody listening as well, hopefully you listened to last week's episode with Cora. Great episode about the Vikings, chatted a little bit of a recap when we played the Bears. But she is also a Yankees fan, and she mentioned to me that she was going to toss out the podcast to your group on Twitter, and you reached out, said, hey, that sounds really great. But when we were just DMing, you said something super interesting. You said that the Yankees were a part of your wedding. Can you chat
Yeah.
a little bit more about that?
Okay, so the pastor that officiated our wedding sent out like little questionnaires to all of the people in my wedding party and all the people in my husband's wedding party and our families. And he told me because we had dinner a couple of weeks after our wedding, and he
Yeah.
told me that all of my friends had included something about the Yankees in their blurbs about me.
That's
And
hilarious.
and I wanted to ask him. I'm going to ask
My
him
cat's gonna
actually.
say hey really
Listen,
quickly.
I have two. One
I
is.
know, I just had to open the door because mine was like freaking out.
Yeah, well, here's one. He'll
Aw.
be screaming eventually, but I don't
Anyway,
know
so your friends all mentioned something about the Yankees for you.
yeah, so I don't know what they said. I was gonna ask our pastor, but I didn't get a chance to, so I'm going to ask him. I think I'm gonna see him this week, so
Okay.
I'm gonna ask him. But yeah, so it's like it's just a big part of my life. Like I said, I have a Yankees tattoo. I said that to you before we started recording, but it's just like I mean, I was interviewed for a like this touring software that I use when I go on the road, and the last thing that they asked me is what is my favorite quote, and my favorite quote that I said was, "Hey guys, I'll be on stage soon. It's the ninth inning and the Yankees are winning." Like everyone, like it's just like it's a part of my personality, just like
Yeah.
being from New York is. So it's just something that follows me everywhere. So I'm very interested to see what my friend said, and I'm going to ask him to send them to me.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet, though. I feel like, and this is kind of what I was saying too, being in New York and just seeing how much everybody there loves their team. Like, I just think it's so, that's like the best thing about sports is sometimes not even the actual sport that's happening in front of your face. That part is absolutely incredible. And when you do get those games that are just so memorable and those Hall of Fame moments, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. But I do think one of the best parts about sports is just that love that you grow, that you have the support. It's just, it makes it so fun.
Yeah, it's amazing. I truly love it. My friend and I've taken or dragged a lot of my friends to Yankee games with
Yeah.
me. So it's just a fun thing, and I'm glad that my entire family and my friend group are just down to hear me talk about it all the time.
Yeah. That makes a huge difference. I mean, I'm very selective about the people that I let into my life. So
Hmm.
thankfully, all of my friends are all absolutely amazing and do love hearing me rant about the Minnesota Vikings. But that's actually a really great segue into my next question for you. So, obviously, the name of the podcast is Name One Player. And I came up with that name because of how many times in my life I've been asked to name one player, mainly on the Minnesota Vikings, but even just if I just breathe a sports team, often it's met with, well, can you even name one player
Hmm.
on the team? So, my question for you, do you have any times that anybody's asked you to name one player on the teams that you love?
Yes. Well, it happens a lot here because it's not very often that you see anyone with a Knicks hat. You
Like
see
in
people,
Nashville, it happens
yeah,
a
in
lot.
Nashville, sorry,
Okay.
yeah. It never happened to me in New York. I do have to say, no one ever did it to me in New York. It was always when I was traveling, or now that I've moved to Nashville. No one really asked me about Yankee players because it's like you could throw on a Yankee hat and it's like wearing a Nike shirt.
Mm-hmm.
People just wear it as a statement.
Yeah.
So it happens sometimes with the Knicks, but the one really memorable instance that I had was because I work at a bagel shop, and this was in 2019 ish. I had on my dad's vintage Yankee jacket. Looks similar to a jersey, but it's not. It's like it looks like a puffer, like puffer cloth puffer. Um, but it's blue and it has a Yankee logo stitched, and on the back it says not Babe Ruth, but it says Ruth and number three because
Okay.
that's my dad's favorite player. His favorite number is three. I don't think he even knows that I have it. Surprise, dad!
Okay.
But I have it in my closet. But I was wearing it to set up the outside of the store, and one of our regulars that came in every Sunday morning, he had made really passive aggressive comments to me anyway, anytime I would wear anything sports related. And he was just kind of a dick head anyway. So,
Okay.
but he came up to me. I didn't even know he was out there, and he was like, "Hey, you. Do you even know who Babe Ruth is?" And I'm like, "Good morning, redacted." I'm not
Good
gonna say.
morning.
I was like, "I'm not gonna say his name," but I was like, "Good morning, sir. Yes, I do know who Babe Ruth is. I have a Yankee tattoo. I'm wearing a Yankee necklace, and I watched every single game for the past like 3 years, and since then I have continued to." So it's just like things like that are just so annoying because I just annihilate them immediately, and then
Yeah.
they get really afraid, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you should be afraid. Just get away from me. Like, don't ask me these dumb questions." You know?
That is
Yeah.
hilarious. I mean, it's not like I always say that the reaction like, "Oh, that's so funny." Because I mean, really all that you can do is laugh because the other option is to just get pissed off and angry and
Right.
sad, whatever. And that's no way to live life. But that's a whole different thing. So funny that that happened in
Mm.
like a no, that's so funny kind of
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my go-to answer for that when people ask me, "Oh, name one Vikings player," I'm like, "Oh, well, what side are we looking for? Are we looking for special teams? Do you want the coaching staff, offense, defense? What year do you want? Like, give me a
Hmm.
little bit more. Come on." And part of it is like nice that validation of like seeing their face and being like, "Oh shit, sorry, okay, I'm an idiot." But then I often have conversations with women on here, and it's kind of like, why do we even care? Like, why do we even feel the need to, I guess, validation really is the word, or understanding, acceptance. I'm not even really sure exactly what it is. So it's too bad that it stems from a place of that, but it is
Yeah.
nice seeing their face be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah, but it's funny that you say that because I was telling my friend who owns the store that I work
Hmm.
at, I was telling her the story because she was working that day.
Yeah.
And I was telling her that I was coming on this. And
Hmm.
I was like, we kind of chatted about what we were going to talk about and all this. And I remembered this story about, that customer. She was like, yeah, Jared, but like, he's older, he's a boomer, so you kind of got to give him some slack. I said, would he have said that if I was a dude?
Yes,
And she
that's what it
went,
always goes back to. Yeah.
right. I was talking to her as I was leaving, and she was like, "You know what, Jerry? Touche." I said, "Right. Bye. See you later, girl. I'll see you later."
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's just, when something like that happens to me, I always get like it's almost like I have a like porcupine. Like I just get really defensive, but I always feel like I have to prove myself.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, why are we even in that position anyway?
exactly, exactly. And I mean, I completely agree, and that's what it comes down to is that the men don't get asked to
No.
name one player, five players, whatever on their favorite team, or even if they just are going to a sports game that you maybe know that they don't particularly follow. Nobody's asking them, can you even name five players on the team? Like, that's not
Yeah.
happening. Like, because
Yeah.
I hope one day that that doesn't happen. I hope that society is raising men to no longer be thinking this way. And it is really great because I do have a fair amount of male listeners. And even on Twitter, Vikings Twitter, interacting with people, the large majority of the people that follow me and I follow on Twitter are men. And a lot of them are absolutely incredible, very inclusive, doesn't seem like being a woman has anything to do with the conversations that we have, which is incredible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. There's always
it's like
those
the
few.
ones that do put a damper on it are the ones that really stick out, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and I've noticed the same thing with Yankees Twitter. Like, there's a Yankees main community, and then there is an offshoot community called Bronx Bombshells, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all women
Yeah.
basically. So that was great to find because I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like a safe community, but also the people in the Yankees empire. I mean, they're very chill. Like the most issues I've had is when I'm live tweeting a game and I use like either I don't really use hashtags, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
live literally live tweeting a game or I reply to someone from the Talkin' Yanks or John Boy Media conglomerate when if they're live tweeting.
Yeah.
And then it's the random people that are not like hardcore fans or like in the
Mm-hmm.
supportive community
Mm-hmm.
that literally come at me. I literally got into a Twitter fight about how bad Gleyber Torres's second base defense is, and they were just like, "Oh well, you could do this." Da, da, da. I said, "I played softball for 13 years. I know how, and I was a catcher.
Yeah.
I know how that the field should operate, and I know what base he should be throwing to. Please tell me I don't know ball one more time, you know." And it's just like these random people ruin it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of men who watch sports have never, ever, ever played the sport that they watch, and that's completely fine. But it's typically, and I mean, I try not to use umbrella terms so that people don't come for me, but it's
Yeah,
typically they don't get that as a rebuttal for things that they're saying, like, oh well, you don't even play football, you don't even play baseball, what do you know? When you're a woman, a lot of the time you do get that, and it's like, okay, how much do
yeah,
you like? How often did you play? Are you in the MLB? No.
right.
So
Yeah, I mean, even I don't even try to even bring up the fact that I played softball because that opens an entire new can of
gosh,
worms. Because
yeah,
then
I
they're like,
can't
oh
even
well, that's not.
imagine.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's not real. I'm like, okay, try to hit a 65-mile-an-hour rising fastball from 30,
Wow.
30 feet away. Try to do that.
Oh man, people are crazy. I did
Yeah.
love what you said though about how your coworkers or the people you were working with all came in wearing the Dodgers gear after the loss, and you're like, do you even know what's
Right.
going on?
No, because they don't. They didn't. I was like, "Oh, did you watch the game?" He's like, "Yeah, I watched the whole thing." I was like, "Yeah, it was crazy when this happened, this happened, this happened." And man, that trade earlier, like I started just going in like assuming that he would know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he didn't at all. And then as the Dodgers continued to win, he continued to do that to me. I'm like, "Dude, you don't even watch, like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like don't try to come for me." Like I would love to have a respectful like, little back and forth banter.
Yeah.
But don't rub it in my face and you have literally no idea anything that happened before the World Series.
Yeah. No, that's what I find it so, again, validating, and I may need to do some soul searching, some more conversations with my therapist. Why we need that validation, that I'm not quite sure, but it can be quite validating when you flip the narrative and
Yeah.
then switch it back onto the men and be like, well, actually, why don't you name some players, please? Why don't you tell me a little bit about what's going on? Because
Yeah.
it's not a contest. But
No.
if it were, it sounds like there may be a chance that we would win. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I don't
listen, we have to
know.
deal with it all the time. I think we are all validated enough to have that happen a couple times a year, and we don't
Yes.
have to really feel bad about it. Because I didn't feel bad. I know why I'm doing this to you because it happens to me all the time. So it's now
Yeah.
the tables are switched. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not good, but I
Yeah.
think we're allowed a couple times at least.
And you know what? Even your customer on the older side bagel customers showing up. Of course, we need to be respectful, not even eight, we should be respectful to every single person ever. But you know what? Maybe he's never had a woman kind of shut him down like that. So you know what? Maybe you did him a favor with his age. So
Maybe,
who
maybe,
knows?
maybe. I mean, in general, he wasn't a very nice person anyway.
Okay, so
Yeah,
maybe not then.
he
But
made he made really rude comments to me, so I think that he
oh,
was just rude.
okay.
But
Well,
whatever.
yeah, he sucks then. So
Yeah, I haven't seen him in years, so that's fine. Bye. I don't care.
oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry, I mean, that's all for me. I am so glad that I had you on today. This was a blast. We'll definitely have to get you back on once the season kicks off and once we find out about all the moves that you guys are making.
Yes, that would be awesome, and I would love to. This was amazing.
Yes, and I will follow along with the Knicks. My Timberwolves fan friends might not enjoy hearing that, but
No, well,
I
that's who
don't know.
Dante and Julius Randle went to the Timberwolves, and that's we got
Oh.
Cat from the Timberwolves. So,
Oh, that I didn't realize that they. Oh, so I knew that had happened. I knew that was a big
yep,
thing
yep.
with cat. Like that's. Oh,
So
and
we
you know
got
what?
Cat. We
I was
got
actually
Cat.
planning on doing a Timberwolves episode. I know quite a few female fans who love the Vikings, also love the Timberwolves. So actually, yeah, maybe we'll need to get that in the works and discuss that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to listen to that as well, simply because, I mean, Anthony Edwards has been on Twitter and going off saying how soft the team is. So I'd
Mm,
love to hear, because I don't really follow, like with baseball, I follow the whole sport. With
yeah.
NBA, I'm mainly just focused on the Knicks. So
Okay.
I want to know what they think.
Goodness, it sounds like some drama.
A
But I
lot.
love drama. I love
Well, I me too. Me too. I love
it.
drama. But yeah, I want you to do. I want selfishly. I want you to do that so I can listen to it so I can hear what they say.
Don't you worry, it will be happening soon.
Great. Great.
Well, again, thank you so much, Jerry. And yeah, good luck with the rest of the next season. Good luck with waiting to figure out what's going to happen with the Yankees. And I wish your teams all the best.
Well, thank you. It was really fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you
Cool.
so much.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much to Jerry for coming on. That was such a fun conversation. I'm feeling like I gotta go watch that fifth inning of the Yankees Dodgers World Series because it sounds like it was really tough. So I will look into that and then I'll decide if I should become a Yankees fan or not. But again, to be honest, even just saying that out loud, I'm a little bit afraid of what my friend Taylor will do to me if I fully commit to being a Yankees fan. But I do love a rivalry. So who knows? We'll see. But yeah, thank you so much, Jerry, for coming on. Such a great conversation. Anybody who has Twitter, be sure to follow Jerry on Twitter. Her Twitter username is Rebel of NYC. You gotta love a born and bred New Yorker, somebody who rides or dies for their city. But yeah, so I think that's it for me. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I'm gonna try really hard to thank you all and just really relay my gratitude and my joy, really, to be doing this and the love that I have for this podcast and the conversations. Energized really is the best word. The conversations that I have with the women on here are just always so uplifting and energizing, and they just give me so much motivation to continue doing this because it's what I love to do. I love to talk. I love to chit chat with the girlies. And I love sports. It's really that simple, you know? If you think about it, like I failed math a lot of times in high school. And then I avoided it like the plague in university. So I'm not a math girl, but it's really just a simple equation here. Nicole plus talking plus female empowerment plus sports equals like the biggest, most heart fulfilling love that exists ever. So, yeah, you ain't getting rid of me. You ain't getting rid of me. That's for damn sure. Um, Well, you are getting rid of me though tonight. Like, I'm done now. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week. And yeah, everybody take care. Everybody, I hope you're taking care of yourselves. Days are getting real dang short. It's really dang cold in Canada, in Vancouver. And it's not even that cold in Vancouver compared to the rest of the country. So, wherever you're listening from, if you're listening from the East Coast, I wish you the best of luck. I wouldn't want to be there. Not for me, but wishing you the best of luck. Yeah, okay. We say this every episode. We're at the point where I'm just rambling on. Take care, everybody. Thank you again from the literal, not even bottom of my heart, the bottom of my stomach. Ew, that sounds gross. Thank you. Just thank you. Like, with everything that I have. Thank you so much. I love you all. Like, every single person listening right now, I love you. I love you. Okay. Now I'm just getting silly. Okay. I'm gonna go. All right, everybody. Bye.